Hey there, Expendables fans, this is Wesatron. Today we're going to be taking a look at Diamond Select Toys Expendables 2 Barney Ross action figure. This has been out for just a couple weeks now, I think, not more than two. And as you can see, I've kind of gotten a little excited already with the packaging. These came in while I was at work, and once everybody else was gone, I was just too excited to leave them in the box. But I did want to show off some of the packaging so you had an idea. They have the Expendables written long ways along here on the edge, which I think is neat. Name on the bottom. Since I've got them off the card, I can show you this. The background has got the big skull symbol with the feather-like knives and things coming out and bullet holes all over the place. Very cool. And then on the back, it's got cross cells for the other figures, but in addition to that, it's also got little bios for each figure. So, Gunner, Hail Caesar, and I'll have to raise it up a little bit. There's Barney's. I just wanted to go ahead and show you guys that in case I forget to on the other videos, but down at the bottom, it's just got the standard stuff, Millennium Films and Lionsgate with the distributors, and it was made in 2012, as you can see right there. So another interesting thing that they've done with the packaging, which I'm not sure that I'm thrilled with, is that behind this Expendables 2 logo here is where they put the weapons, and I think that that was not the best move in the world. I think people like to see what's in the packaging. Especially like with Hale and Gunner, they both have their large weapons back here, so it looks like they don't come with much, and their knives too. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and take this guy the rest of the way out and see what he's like. Here I've got Barney out of packaging, doing a pretty basic pose, just aiming one gun and kind of reaching for his, I'd say sidearm, but it's like his third arm. He's got his little pistol on the back there. I do want to preface this review by saying I do like this action figure. There's going to be a lot of things I say negatively about it because it does have a lot of issues, but overall I do like the figure. I dig it. I think it's a worthy addition to your collection as long as you can find it for the appropriate price, which will be key because from what I'm hearing so far, people are finding them for all different kind of prices, and it's definitely something that's going to be on the lower end of the spectrum, or should be on the lower end for a price. So, start off by taking a look at the head. There's a pretty nice likeness here to Sylvester Stallone. It's not perfect, it's a little thin, you know, but it does look like a sculpted effort, which I think works really well. I mean, you can obviously tell who it's supposed to be within the context of the movie. Even if you couldn't tell who it was overall, which I can, I think it looks great. I think they could have done a little more painting on the lips, maybe, to bring those out a little bit more. And for some reason, mine has really, really light-colored eyes. I don't know if that's the case with all of them, but he's supposed to have pretty dark brown eyes, and they're really light, almost reddish is what it looked like through the packaging, but just wanted to point that out. There's the logo there for the Expendables, and another odd thing, he's got really, really light brown hair, like almost reddish there as well. And Sylvester Stallone these days is like dyeing it black, like it's black. It's not even like dark brown anymore. It's black. He is an Italian dude, and he's dyeing his hair black. So I am kind of confused why they went so light with the hair. That's really strange to me. It's something you can fix easily with paintbrush if you so choose. I probably won't fix mine. I'll just be baffled by it forever. He's got his silver necklace here that's kind of tucked into his tack vest, which is very nice. If you look closely, you can see where it says Black Hawk on, well, you can see it more on this side than this, on his vest there, which I'm surprised that DST actually did, because Black Hawk is a, worldwide distributor of tactical gear, so I'm surprised that they took the risk. Like, we saw in the Sean review, they had to make it skinless instead of Guinness, because you're not supposed to really do that. So I wonder if they cracked a deal with Black Hawk for that, because it looks pretty cool. We've got some nice different types of material looking here from the paint job. They made this much slicker, so it looks kind of more leathery. And these parts in between, they did kind of a dry brush on to give it some nice texture and to make it seem more like padding. So very cool. She's got a short sleeve shirt on. The back has got a lot of molly connections, which is basically just a modular pouch system. So you could easily like hang a camelback back here, but that's besides the point. They did a nice job on the musculature. Nice, veiny arms coming down, look great. A little bit of like a large indentation there for the articulation, which is kind of strange, but he's got his glove on his right hand, looking good. His right hand is very far open. So far, I've not been able to get a weapon to stay in there, so that's a bummer because his. If you've been watching the news on the Expendables figures, they don't, or at least he doesn't have a cut finger here. So the finger is connected to all the other fingers. If you want it to fit into a trigger guard, you're going to have to cut it yourself. So bit of a bummer there, but like I said, there's going to be a lot of problems I have with the figure. It doesn't mean it's not a good figure. The watch over here, I just watched the movie again last night, and the watch actually should be on the other wrist. Not that that's a huge deal, I just wanted to point it out. You could easily do that if you wanted to pop the wrists off, because this is a floating piece, which is interesting. I guess so that they're able to have a lot more reuse with the arms and stuff. He's got his little, like, bowling handicap thing. I don't know why he's got that, but it looks cool, hey. Yeah, big gold belt buckle with the skull on it. Very nicely represented here. They did a nice gloss on the belt itself, so it looks like leather. Very cool. As you can see, he's got... this is all a floating separate piece. I'm told you can actually take it all off too. There's like a button here. So you can slide that all the way off and have yourself just relax on a Sunday, Barney Ross, in your military fatigues. He's got 3 holsters, as I said. They're very nicely done because they included like the stitching along the edge for the leather. Very, very nice. They are kind of designed to look like speed holsters. They don't have a back or anything on them. So you could pull it out really quick. I'm not sure that he had him in the movie, but it was a good design for the figure at least, because they were able to leave the guard snaps here in place so that when you put the gun in, it will actually fit right under there and kind of lock into place. So that's cool. And then he's got the old Stargate body from the waist down. So nice stitching there, good folds in the pants. I like the way it bunches up here at the shoes, and very nice glossy looking boots and muddy bottoms. No peg holes, however, which is unfortunate because as we're getting into articulation, you can see that he's not really where he should be for a 2012 figure, but you might have been seeing me move it around. He's got a very nice ball-jointed head here. Of course, all the way around and everything. Good tilt from left to right, down about that far, up about that far. This is where we get into the first major problem, which is he's got double ball or ball and socket jointed shoulders here, which means they go in and out and stuff, but not very far. They can rotate here, but that doesn't do you a whole lot of good when you've got a military figure, especially one that uses pistols, because pistols you tend to extend your arm. In Barney's case, a lot of times, he actually kind of does the fanning motion, which is where you hold down the trigger and you smack the hammer so that it keeps firing rounds, but that was with his revolver. But he can't even really do that very well. But a pistol user should be able to extend their arm straight out. So you can kind of mock it up a little bit if you need to, but I really wish that they had gone with swivel hinge shoulders instead. Got swivels in the biceps, work perfectly. If people have a problem with that kind of thing where the cut doesn't line up perfectly, that's on you. It's up to you if you like that or not, or if it bothers you, rather. So hinge is about 90 degrees, not perfectly 90 degrees, but pretty close. Swivel wrists. We've got a swivel in the waist. Nothing in the midsection or anything like that. No hunches or anything like that. This is where it starts to get a little poopy. Aside from the strained shoulders, we've got swivel hips, which in 2012 is just not what we're used to. These are the old Stargate hips, and despite DST saying some weeks ago that they would have the outward hinge, they do not. If you can see me pulling on there, there's no hinge there. So that is a huge bummer, huge letdown. I was really looking forward because I had looked in advance at the Stargate hips, and I was like, man, that looks exactly like the hips we're seeing in these pictures. So but DST told us that they would have hinges, and apparently they went back and fixed that later and apologized, but yeah, they do not have hinges. So, big bummer. Star Wars articulation is not great on a 2012 figure. Swivel in the thighs. Hinge in the knees. This is odd. They actually have a higher cut on this leg than this leg for the knee joint, if you can see that. So this one goes about 90 or close to it, but this one goes much lower. That's as far as that one will go. Very, very strange. And then nothing below that. No balls in the ankles, no swivels, no anything. So there's not a whole lot of poses that Barney can really do, which is a shame. But he still looks great as the leader of the gang. He can just stand there and look cool, so that's great. So really the last thing I wanted to talk about was just about accuracy. Normally I don't bother a whole lot with accuracy, but because this movie is so much about guns, it seems like that should have been one of the things they really did right, since they've got so much reuse out of the other parts. Unfortunately, on Barney, all his weapons are wrong. He's got 3 of this, which, near as I can tell, just looks like a SIG Sauer pistol. I'm not sure if it's a 226 or 229 or whatever. But in the movie, he uses 1911 variants, which may not be a big deal to most people, but it's a very different style of gun, and it's also got a lot of character to it. So that's a big deal for me. The other thing that bothers me is that because he did come with 3 identical guns, he's also missing his signature pistol, which he wears on his back here. This gun definitely fits in there, but he actually has what appears, from what I can see in the movie, to be a Colt single-action Army that's been sawed down, which is a very unique and cool kind of idea, which is great, like I said, for that fanning motion where he can kind of walk into a room and clear it really quickly because he can fan. Without that pistol, it seems like they kind of genericized the figure a little bit. I don't know if that's a real word, but I'm going to use it. I don't care. Genericized. So, gun-wise, definitely not up to snuff for what he should be for an Expendables toy. I really expected them to do the guns right. I think just because they knew that they were going to reuse this pistol with just about every other character, they didn't really care so much about it, but I really wish they had, because that's a bummer for me. Now, I am going to be one of the people who cuts the finger to make sure that it fits through the trigger hole, and I'm going to do that real quick so you guys can see if that improves the grip on this hand, because as you can see right now, just going straight up and down, that just goes in and out. That is not going to grab. So I'm going to try that real quick, and we'll see if that helps. So here we've got the fingers cut and slid into the trigger guards, and I gotta say, it's definitely an improvement everyone's going to want to make. It goes from not being able to hold his guns at all to holding them very securely. These guns aren't going anywhere, so that's great. You can see the finger is actually even like the perfect size to fit in the trigger guard, so I'm really not sure why they didn't decide to go with it. And also the plastic here is a little flexible, so it works really, really well to get the gun into the hand and get it to stay there. So I'm definitely going to be, I was thinking before just having him stand in the middle looking cool, but I'm definitely going to have him pose with his guns now, because that looks great. To do that, all I did was put an X-Acto knife right on the edge of his finger there, like upwards like this, and I just slowly worked it like this, making sure that I kept my fingers out of the way. So it just, let me use the gun to illustrate because it's smaller. So just basically slid the knife like that, just kind of worked it very, very slowly in there so that I didn't risk hurting myself. Yeah, definitely cool. Now, I got this guy on redfordfilms.com, I believe is the name of the website. I'll make sure that I check that before I put it in the description. But I paid about $11 for this figure. I don't know if it was just an awesome sale or what was going on, but $11 for this guy, even with all his problems, the weapons being accurate, the articulation being strange, the odd paint, $11 is still an outstanding deal. It's definitely worth it. Even if they only release these 3 figures at $33, $35 at the most for the set, it's worth it. That it's a great deal. But I have been reading on the Whoosh people saying that they're picking these up for $20, up to $25. And even the guy, MS Word from DST, has said, guys, that's a little too much. You need to talk to somebody about that. So I'd say for this quality of figure, $15 is probably the most you should pay. 18 if you're a huge fan, but definitely not 20. Certainly not 25. Do not go that far. But $11, great deal. Like I said, I still really like the action figure despite all his flaws. He's just still really cool. I mean, it's Barney Ross. It's a cool movie. It's a cool series. We are very glad to have him. So that's it for this one. I did also get Hail Caesar and Gunnar Jensen, so I'm planning on doing reviews of them also. That's it. Yeah. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the box below. I'll be glad to answer them if I know the answer, and if I don't, I'll do my best to bull crap you. Yeah, so thanks for stopping by, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.